Well, to everybody listening here, like I say, definitely be aware. It's one of those situations, going forward, we need to make sure that the young folk understand this. History is being erased all over the place. Texas, Tennessee, and I'm just naming those: Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Oklahoma. They're rewriting the history books and they're rewriting the ancient history. And then if we're not telling them about recent history, stuff that has happened within their lifetimes, if we don't put it in its context, you got your children walking around out here willfully blind. You're letting them walk around willfully blind because you want to believe that there's something you can buy into. And they're sitting out here sitting ducks. He's walking out here and whatnot. Well, I voted for Biden. Why did they give me a life sentence? Well, they give my white friends 4 years. They give me a life sentence or a plea deal, but they gave me a life sentence. Well, yeah. And then we supported and go for it. There's a whole bunch of folk who voted for Kamala Harris in California. Whole bunch of folk who voted for Joe Biden after you saw the 85 and 95 crime bill. And we keep explaining these things away. Meanwhile, you're letting other people get treated differently. If anybody wants to speak about this, though, you can go ahead and throw your hands up. I'll go ahead and get to you. I'm asking real simple, by the way. Do you support base pipe Biden? You support old Jim Crow Joe Biden now. It's well, let me get you out your free drug kits. You can there's no money for reparations. No money for that. He's against that. Nothing. By the way, him and the Democrats, because this is the Democrat Party, by the way. We're not interested in that. There's no money for reparations, no none of that, but we can fund your drug habit if you need it. Let me see. Path of Justice. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Yes, you're
Okay,
on.
thank you, Jason, for taking my call again. This is Ben again. I called again on Sunday, so I'm not trying to violate your rules. But I just want to say thank you for doing everything. To me, what I was most alarmed was I feel like the general community that we have has been fairly unresponsive to this, and to me that was more alarming about how few of our people I think are willing to fight. I feel like the Black empowerment circle is very reactive to this and very negative towards it, of course. But I think our community as a whole has been alarmingly silent. So I guess my take was that we as Black people who are serious need to, I think, focus more on ourselves. I know awakening our people is important, but I'm not saying a lot of our people are lost cause, but we have a lot of lost cause out here. That's just my opinion.
Well, well. Let's dissect that for a moment. Like the young man I was speaking with here before. First of all, you got to understand there's a huge education effort that needs to be done. For those of us in the new black media, we've kind of undertaken that as not kind of, we've undertaken that as our job because that's really, if you're relying on CNN, you might as well go ahead and put the shackles around your ankles now. If you're relying on them, if you're relying on the corporate white supremacist media to sit up here and inform you properly, then you might as well go ahead and sign yourself up for a life sentence and just save them the trouble. So, in reality, this is a huge education effort. This discussion doesn't happen anywhere else. It's not happening at the schools. Hell, the schools are rewriting history as we speak. It doesn't happen at the churches. The churches is just Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes, so forget about that. You went from Dr. King to Dr. Pepper, basically. Your HBCUs aren't doing it. The HBCUs aren't doing it. If you're interested in transgender studies, they got your back. But as far as dealing with these things, no, the HBCUs have checked out. If you're in a state college or state school, well, forget about that. And even your entertainment media, they make movies about these kind of things and TV shows about these kind of things for everybody else. But when it comes to us in particular, who have an immediate grievance against the society and whatnot, all of a sudden that gets thrown away. So just understand there's a huge education effort that needs to be done here. How old are you, Path of Justice?
I am 37.
Okay, you're the same age as the other caller was. So, and where do you live at?
Decatur.
Okay, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, like I say, the epidemic hit Atlanta too, as a matter of fact. So you'd have been about 10 years old when the 95 crime bill, we got to differentiate the two. When the 95 crime bill hit, you would have been about 10 years old. Do you remember the crack epidemic hitting down there?
Well, I'm actually from a smaller city in middle Georgia, so I wasn't in the midst of that. There was my dad's side's on the Columbus side, so I definitely saw a lot of that floating out around there before even the crime bill hit. So,
And then when you keep in mind that they brought the damn drugs here. And there's the
yeah,
first thing about it. But it didn't just get here in its own. They brought the drugs here. They made sure you had everything you needed so you could kick it off. So they created an epidemic and then locked up a bunch of people for it. So for those of you who are young, we got to remember time is slipping into the future. So for those of us in our 40s, 50s, or 60s, we got to let these cats, even as late as their 30s, know what was going on and exactly who it was. Because if you're there in Georgia, like I said, you got Newt Gingrich, who was working hand in hand with Bill Clinton at the time. So if we don't make it clear who was doing what and what it was and how it really happened, this is how history repeats itself. This is how you can have a 37-year-old black male call you up and say, yeah, I voted for Biden. Well, I heard about the crime bill, but I didn't really think much of it. It's like, whoa. That would be like Arabs talk about, we heard about 9/11, but we didn't think very much of it. We didn't think that major thing in that regard. So for those of you in your 30s and younger, we got to make sure you all understand the ins and outs. You can't just sit up here and memorize all the fictional characters on the Book of Power. And meanwhile, out here in the real damn world, you don't know who any of the players are out here. You don't know who's doing what. And Joe Biden has been here the whole damn time. And the problem is, yeah, Reagan died. Tip O'Neill is dead. You know, a bunch of the others are dead. But a lot of these fellas, a lot of these people are still here. It's like Emmett Till's killers. The woman who sat up here and accused Emmett Till is still alive. Emmett Till's been dead for decades, but she's still alive. And other groups of people would not give that a pass. We have got to make sure you all are properly educated so that you aren't walking around out here walking side by side with the demons of yesteryear, walking side by side with them and voting for them and supporting them. I mean, that is just a cruel irony. It really, really is. We're talking about who these demons are. And meanwhile, the 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds are sitting here taking selfies and photobombing pictures with the guys that we've been trying to fight now for 40 years. The Daily Mail, I wanted to just go down a little bit because they were talking about this. They were talking about how Jen Psaki, by the way, I know Roland Martin hates to hear her name. Roland Martin thought he was going to be White House press secretary so bad. He thought he was going to get a deputy White House press secretary job so bad. I know he's mad as hell today. Every time he has to receive the name Jen Psaki, I know he just wants to say, that old wench. Look at her sitting up there. In any case, it said, now a spokesman for HHS did not reply to a follow-up question asking for an explanation on the discrepancy between the comments of the Free Beacon and the follow-up statement. So you can read the article if you want to. It's on my Twitter page. However, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki blamed, quote, inaccurate reporting. The crack pipes were never a part of the kit. It was inaccurate reporting, and we wanted to put out information to make that clear, she said. HHS said that the kits will serve to limit the risk of infection. Typically, users smoke out of glass pipes, which can lead to cuts and sores that become infected with diseases like hepatitis C. Handing out pipes is also intended to prompt users to smoke rather than inject themselves with some substances like meth, as injection is far riskier. Applications for the program get priority if they serve, quote, underserved communities such as African Americans or Native Americans or LGBTQ people. So, folks, Joe Biden, I think this is Joe Biden's sick idea of reparations for black people. So black people said we wanted something specifically for us. We still ain't got anything specifically for us. But he's like, by the way, I was just thinking about you niggas. So let me go ahead and throw this at you. So that was what they're doing there. So nothing for reparations, nothing there. It doesn't have the time, doesn't have the ability. Too hard to do. Can't get that through Congress. But base pipes, oh, we don't even need to vote for that. We don't even need to vote. Don't even have to, all of a sudden, where are the Biden butt kissers to talk about, oh, you can't get anything through Congress? This didn't require a vote. But this wasn't hard to get through. And all the excuses that the Biden base heads were giving out, now all of a sudden you can't use any of those excuses. I know I'm hurting your feelings. I know I'm hurting your feelings because you were planning on this lasting a while. Every time y'all turn around, he's doing something else to make it look worse. Every time you turn around, it is getting worse. Are we having fun yet? We got over 600 of y'all in here by my count, because this is what changed the national discussion. The whole reason why we're having this right now, just understand, a decade ago under Obama, we couldn't have had this discussion. We could have been talking, but it was just a few of us. But we've been steadily, consistently on the drumbeat of this all this time. And this is why now it can be an issue. And I just want you to understand, if Biden feels like he's only going to get one term in office, just understand he's going to try to wreck shop as much as he can on his way out the door. So we went from Obama phones to Biden base pipes. This is where we're at now. We went from Obama phones to Biden base pipes. I want to find out, is there anybody out there who is still supporting Biden? Is there supporting him? You are just unfazed, that you think that there's something we're getting wrong, that maybe there's something that we just don't understand or something that we just don't see about this, and that if we would just look at it the right way, we would understand that this is acceptable. Because, you know, I didn't see anybody saying that the Asians need more cocaine. The Asians need more safe places for cocaine. We need to do something specifically for them. When they said doing something specifically for Asians, it was to protect them physically and to give them financial resources. That's what the Asians got. Black folk are literally, well, hey, you need a base pipe? Need some condoms? Need some abortions? That's what we get. We're sitting up here saying we need the same resources you give everybody else. And they come back to us, oh, we ain't got any money for resources. We gave it to everybody else, but we did bring you some money for abortions. Matter of fact, we got free rides, as a matter of fact. Do you need a ride down to the abortion clinic? Oh, you got twins. Oh, good. We can get a 2-for-1. Oh, you got twins. Oh, good. We can get a 2-for-1. Yeah, we can go ahead and get that taken care of. That's no problem. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. If you think that white supremacists don't have a sense of humor about these things, you're dead ass wrong. This is what happens when you have a sick sense of humor. This isn't accidental. This is actually one of the things they sit back there behind closed doors and giggle about. This is about having a sick sense of humor. Hey, you know, they said that they want us to do something specifically for them. We brought something specifically for them. More drugs. Hey, hey, hey. You can see wrinkled old Biden, old senile Biden, and old wrinkled old Mitch McConnell. Now there's something that they can share a toast to while sipping some brandy. Hey, don't worry, we're going to get plenty of drugs out there for them. I want you all to understand, we are constantly on their minds. That's why we have to constantly be on our agenda, because we are constantly on these people's minds. They are always sitting around thinking to themselves, how can we undermine black folk and make it look like we didn't do anything? Now, do you realize how dense you have to be to see something like this and then say, okay, well, you know, I mean, yeah, that ain't great, but, you know, it ain't that bad. Do you realize how dense you have to be at that point? Anybody who's looking at this and still making excuses, basically what you're saying is just, you know, let the white supremacists just come have me. That was one thing for them to say that. They're just looking for a peaceful death. For you younger people, you better be completely aware of this and completely informed about this. You can't afford to have ignorance. That's not something you can afford to have. You can't afford to be ignorant of this. Not with this many of these people still circulating out there, this many of them and their acolytes, by the way, because they're acolytes and heirs, or the ones who've been co-opted. Remember Kamala Harris? Take a look at how quickly that heifer flipped. Did you see how fast she flipped? It took her 2.3 seconds. She was sitting there at one debate talking about, well, Joe Biden has been accused of sexually violating some females, and I believed him. As soon as he named her his nominee for vice president. Didn't hear her talk about them chicks ever again. Just that quickly. I believe them. Now they need to shut up. I'm going to be vice president. So yes, girls, I believe you. Now shut the hell up so I can get to this White House.
Okay. Other than just being racist.
Well, here's the real thing. It doesn't require you to support either one of them. It really doesn't. You're not required to say, let me choose the lesser of two evils. You can actually condemn Trump and Biden. It doesn't actually require you to sacrifice your integrity. Here's the issue. You got to have some integrity before you can sacrifice it.
And that's it.
And a lot of these people, they sacrificed theirs a long damn time ago.
And that's the next thing he said too. Well, he's the lesser of two evils. Last time I checked, evil is still evil. And by the way, I didn't vote for either of them because they're both pieces of crap anyway. But how can you be this stupid to the point where you completely say the same thing over and over again? That's what the caller is basically saying. At least it's better than Trump, and it's the lesser of two evils. They're both racist. You don't have to vote for them. It's infuriating.
Yeah, they're throwing out a slogan with no rationale behind it.
None.
If all you can say is he's not Biden. Okay, how is that a benefit to us? Okay, he's not Biden. He's also not good. So
exactly.
Or at least he's not Trump. Okay, but that doesn't mean he's better. At best, it just means he's not Trump. Okay, but if he's going to do the same thing, so unless you can tell us what he's going to do that's going to be better, you haven't actually given us an argument for voting for him or for supporting that, because we're going to have to live under that. Let's be very, very clear. If you're doing this kind of stuff right here, these are the neighborhoods you'll have to live in. This is where you'll have to be. This is where that kind of thing is going to occur. And they're going to always make sure they treat the white side of town differently than the black side of town. So you can't just sit up and give out some empty-headed response like you're sitting in church. Simple-minded responses where folks haven't thought things over. Or here's the other thing you all got to keep in mind. What you're listening to in a lot of cases is you're listening to people who have an agenda that is in no way black-centric. It is in no way Afrocentric. What we really need to do is start asking these people, because it's really good. It's good that people are asking things like, okay, are you, foundational? Are you descendants of slaves? That's good to ask that to find out if there's an immigrant agenda at work. But folks need to ask, hey, what about the LGBT thing? That one's usually not very far away. How about feminism? That one's usually not very far away. So there's other questions of these ardent Biden supporters that would be very good to ask, because it's like, okay, he's doing nothing but raining hell on black people, and yet you're still supporting him. So there must be something he's actually offering that you're interested in, but you don't want to tell us here in this forum. You don't want to come out and say what it is. So what is it what is the bone they're giving you? What are the 30 pieces of silver that they're offering you that is worth you overlooking all of this anti-black behavior, this obvious anti-black behavior? Well, there is anti-black, but, I'm LGBT also, so Biden be supporting me. So, okay, so you think as long as you are being granted the particular type of sexual access you want, at least you feel like they're supporting that. Oh, okay. So
pretty much
symbolic. Because that's not literal. Black gays don't get any of the benefits that white gays get. They don't get any of the benefits. They don't get any of the perks. They don't get any of the protections. But they've got proximity, so they feel some vicarious satisfaction. But they don't get any of those protections.
That's what I don't understand. That's what I don't understand about the black LGBTQ community, is that eventually they're going to break you too. They do not care about you. They only use you as a mascot to their agendas. And when their agendas are met, they discard you like trash.
For the longest time, though, brother. The whole thing right now is there are two types of black people. The black people who want empowerment and the black people who want proximity. And that's literally what we're dealing with right now. Who is it who wants to be empowered? And who is it who really just wants to be close? to the dominant society, and they're going to sell the rest of us out. Biden and friends, there's a reason why the Democrats keep working the same strategy all the damn time. What did Biden say? He said, I want to just go meet black folk. When he was asked here about why is it his black support is declining, it's because I haven't gotten out there and met people.
Or how about, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Like, really? Aren't you the same person?
Since then, though, yeah, you're right. He's the same guy who's doing all this other stuff. But since then, though, when he was told what the problem was, he said the solution is, I need to get out here and meet more people. I need to go out here and go to more of these communities. In other words, more photo ops. Because what they believe, and for a certain segment of black folk, it's true, that as long as he shows up and shakes their hand and acknowledges their existence, that's all they're looking for.
And that's
looking for.
And that's the sad. That's what's frustrating. Like, even today in Tariq's space, there's this woman who tried to come in and try to say that Joe Rogan shouldn't pay black businesses because of what he said. It should be distributed amongst black people. I was like, wait a minute. So you're telling me the same white people who hate our guts use our bodies for everything for their money, but they still continue to hate us? Why shouldn't Joe Rogan compensate us for his anti-black racism, which is clearly true of what he believes to be true? So why shouldn't we be compensated for his racism? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you have another agenda at work and these things don't really bother you because you got something else that you want. If you're from an immigrant class, right, you're willing to overlook 3 strikes because you have something else you want. If your real priority is LGBT, you'll overlook whatever happens to black folk because you have another agenda at work. You're willing to do that. For us, that's front and center. You can't dismiss that because we don't have any other agenda running. This is the only one we got. And this is how they put them in the trick bag. Nobody else lets you sit up here and play the feminism card in their community. Right. Nobody else sits up here unless you play that. You got to come with them to them with the resources, with the tangibles, with the benefits, with the
protections. Like the Asians, the Latinos, and everybody else.
Yeah, you got to give them the protections of the whole 9 yards. Remember, the Asians, think about this for a few moments. So Asians got protections now, and that thing specifically said for Asian Americans, so much for I can't specifically do anything for black folk. You can specifically do something for Asians. Ain't that right? Kamala, sometimes I'm Asian when I need to be Harris. All of a sudden, I'm just telling my brother, these are sick insults now. These are sick jokes.
Yes. I remember I saw that article talking about him passing out the crack pipes. I thought it was like an SNL skit or something from Dave Chappelle, but I actually looked up the article. He's serious.
Oh, I thought it was a joke too. I thought it was that. I thought it was satire. I was like, okay, y'all been reading The Onion or something. I can't believe you're passing this nonsense around. And then I just got a few minutes of time, and I said, but too many people are saying this. Let me go look it up. Let me go look it up so I can debunk it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, no, you the one don't know. You don't even know the half. He's like, by the way, I'm trying to see if I can expand this a little bit. I ain't trying to give you a crack pipes. I just want to make sure you got something to smoke with. What? Okay. So it's just now we're playing semantics. Like I said, this is a sick joke. Now we're playing semantics again. Underserved, minority communities. Oh, I'm not handing out crack pipes. I'm handing out smoking kits. What's in the smoking kit? Because I see a little glass pipe in here. So what are you talking about? Well, that's not a crack pipe. It's a glass pipe. It's a smoking. Don't you understand? This is a smoking pipe. No, we don't do crack pipes. Don't put that on us. We don't do crack pipes. We just do glass pipes. So everything. This understand something. This is a sick joke at this point.
You see now, people fucked up with that.
They're claiming that I committed PPP loan fraud. I mean...